I watched my son-in-law's smile stretch across the table, too wide, too polished. His fork tapped against his plate as if the punchline was already rehearsed. "You'll love the new nursing home," he said, nudging my daughter's hand as if they were partners in crime. "They even have crochet classes." Crochet classes? That was the bait he thought I'd bite. As though I was a helpless old woman with nothing left but yarn and needles. I kept my face blank, my spoon rising to my lips with a calm that only years of swallowing betrayal could teach. Inside, I was already burning. I remember when I first held my daughter. Her small fist wrapped around my finger, her trust absolute. I raised her alone after her mother left, carving a life out of thin air, 2 jobs, sleepless nights. I told myself it was worth it because one day she would stand tall, strong, unshakable. And when she met him, the man now grinning at me like a vulture, I swallowed my doubts. He was smooth, ambitious, promising her the world. I wanted her happiness more than my caution. I gave my blessing, even gave him the keys to parts of my world I never shared with anyone. That trust became my mistake. The first cracks showed slowly: a missing heirloom watch, a misplaced savings bond. My daughter suddenly distant when I asked small questions. Her words felt rehearsed, fed to her by someone else's tongue. I noticed the way his eyes lingered on the walls of my house, not with appreciation, but calculation. The way he steered conversations toward assets and future planning. I stayed quiet, pretended not to notice, pretended not to see the checks he convinced her to sign in my name. But when I overheard them whispering, selling my belongings while I still breathed, I knew silence had expired. Anger would have been too easy. Instead, I chose patience. I began to move pieces on the board they didn't even realize they were standing on. First, the accounts. I shifted funds, liquidated assets, redirected everything into places their signatures couldn't reach. Offshore, locked, untouchable. The bank statements they peeked at showed numbers, but hollow ones, shells of accounts already drained. Next, the house. The deed had been mine alone for decades. They thought the power of attorney trick would corner me. What they didn't know was that I'd quietly transferred ownership months before, to a trust under a name they'd never trace. They were scheming over a carcass while the meat was already gone. Finally, I booked a flight. Not round trip, not domestic. A one-way ticket to a place neither of them had ever cared to ask about, though it was etched in every photo frame of my youth. At lunch, I played along. My daughter smiled weakly, eyes darting between him and me. She didn't know the depth of what she was complicit in. She thought this was about convenience, care, maybe even love. But his eyes told me everything. Greed was a language I knew how to read. I let them talk, let them fantasize about crochet classes, about new beginnings, about selling what they thought was theirs. I nodded. I even thanked them. That night I slept in my own bed for the last time. They thought I was dozing while they rummaged through drawers, pulling out jewelry, counting cash, whispering about the car's resale value. I lay still, listening, memorizing every syllable of their betrayal. By dawn, I was gone. My passport, my documents, my hidden bag of essentials, all prepared weeks in advance. At the airport, while security checked my boarding pass, I imagined their hands sifting through empty drawers, their faces when the lawyer's call would come. Because I left one final gift, a letter delivered at 9 a.m. sharp. In it, I wrote simply, "You sold what wasn't yours. You counted money that didn't exist. You plotted a future built on ashes. By the time you read this, I'll be gone, and so will everything you thought belonged to you. You thought you were clever, but I was watching, always watching. You tried to bury me. You forgot. I taught you how to dig. I imagine the scene now, my son-in-law's smug face cracking as the lawyer explains the accounts are empty. The deed is gone. The power of attorney void. My daughter's tears, not from guilt but from shock, realizing her safety net has vanished. They thought they were playing me, but every move they made, I let them. Every piece of bait, I placed. Every smile I returned at that lunch was another nail in their coffin. And me, as the plane sliced through the clouds, I felt lighter than I had in years. No crochet classes, no nursing home, no vultures circling, just freedom. They'll spend years untangling the mess I left behind, fighting creditors, scrambling for stability. He'll lose his shine, and she'll see the truth. But I won't be there. I gave them life. I gave them love. They answered with betrayal. I answered with silence, calculation, and an exit they'll never recover from. I glance out the window now, watching.